United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, everybody. I appreciate the great turnout tonight. Welcome to our April 20th, 2026 meeting at 7 p.m. We have a pretty full agenda tonight, but what we think we would do first is the resolution. We could do the swearing in of our Board of Ethics members and so forth. We believe we are missing one person at the moment, but we can always do that after the fact. So we'll do that. So part of formality, I'll just do the resolution. Once the resolution is completed, excuse me, then Michelle will come up and we'll do the swearing in. Okay? All right, so resolution 260065 is to approve the Board of Ethics reappointment 3-year term of Jamie White, Ken Schwartz, and William Graber. Have a motion, please?
Motion.
Motion on Donna. Steve. Any questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion passes 5-0. All right, at this point, we'll move into the swearing in.
Jamie.
You gotta do it on one foot.
While you're jumping up and down.
And your eyes closed.
I should have known.
I, Jamie White,
I, Jamie White,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of the Board of Ethics.
Very good, Jen.
and you're good.
Sign your life away.
Okay, thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Jamie.
I, Schwartz,
Ken Schwartz,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New York,
and the Constitution of the State of New York.
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of
I will faithfully discharge the duties of
the Board
the Board
of Ethics.
of that. Now go which one you want.
Sign right there.
Right here? No.
You're up, Bill.
Your time is impeccable.
We didn't care how late you were, we're gonna wait anyway.
No,
I
I, William Graber,
do solemnly
do
swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United
that I will
States.
support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York,
All right. And that I will faithfully discharge the duties of,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties of Board of Ethics member.
nice.
Uh-oh, Michelle.
Practice.
You better be on your game, girlfriend.
Like 2 months ago.
No, that's okay.
But your term expired, that's what happens.
Thanks, William.
It's religious.
What?
It's religious.
Very good.
Thank you, guys, we appreciate your
Thank you very
time
much. We
and your
do,
dedication to that board.
really, really do. Thank you. All the hard work. Great. So at this point, we have Jean Gailey, who has been a very, and her husband Alec, who's an architect by trade, have been the leading force at the Sewell Park property, which is across the street from the middle school. And we've been very busy over the months of, continuing that process, the project, working with New York State, working with federal government, working with FEMA, and trying to get to the point where we can then, actually do something tangible at that park and make it what we really wanted to do, and Jean's dream of the layout and flowers and all this other good stuff. So we thought, since we've been meeting kind of on a regular basis, that we would invite Jean in to basically give an update on the Sewell Park process, and, give us the latest and greatest information.
Well, we were gonna show you a video, and I wanna say I forgot the popcorn, but as always, the equipment is not being kind. So it is what it is. We'll be posting it online, it'll be on, we have a Facebook page for the park, and I'll see about putting it on some of the Washington Milk pages. What recently has occurred, if you haven't seen it in social media, our village historian, Jean Persuadable, was very instrumental in getting a historic marker for Naomi Sewell Richardson. And we had a reveal here a couple weeks ago with members from her sorority. This I have to look up because I have third group of brains and I can't remember the name of the sorority. It's Delta Sigma Theta. So the women were here, the dedication, they're very excited. She's one of the founders of the sorority, for those of you who may not know. One of the 22 members from Howard University this is now one of the first or second largest sorority in the world. It's huge, and it's a very significant sorority. So to have their involvement and interest kind of like gave a new rise to everything. What we did separate from the village, so you all know, is we created a not-for-profit, the Naomi Sewell Richardson Park Foundation. And we did it through the Community Foundation of Orange and Sullivan County. Now includes Rockland County as well. It's an organization that's over in Montgomery. They handle nothing but not-for-profits, which means that monies go directly to our fund that we have set up. And even in terms of withdrawing it, we go through the foundation with an invoice. So it's all very straightforward, no questions. People know how monies are coming and going. And with that, each year they do Hudson Valley Gives. This is their 11th year, and it's May 20th. It's 24 hours. It's the full day. But there's also time leading up to it. So you'll see, we're going to put, this is the lawn sign, but instead of putting it out on the park property, we're going to put it right here in the lobby, so everybody can see that the park is part of Hudson Valley Gives. When you scan this QR code, it will take you to the Naomi Sewell Richardson Park Foundation. And then you can just go ahead and make your donation. It goes right into the fund. We also have a separate one just for the fund that's separate from the HV Gives. Last year we raised almost $1,000, so it was all good. And the sorority has been very generous. So I'm letting you all know, I'm sure people drive by and they're like, what the hell's going on with that property? It's been looking like this forever. Only the geese are loving it. But we've had a lot of cooperation with members of the community on, April or May 18th,
May
right?
16th.
May 16th, that we're gonna do cleanup, some high school students involved, members of the sorority, there are young people involved that'll be coming out. We'll be planting flowers and things. So we're moving along, we're looking to revisit the sign. Part of what we'd like to make the park be about is a pollinator pathway, meaning that there will be plants that are indigenous to the area, but they also attract butterflies and bees and hummingbirds. And it was an idea that we got from Cornwall, from the CAC, the Conservation Advisory Commission in Cornwall. So that's part of the plan. In addition, we have also been pursuing grants. We just put in something with ONR. And the pollinator pathway is an attraction. And the fact that we're putting this on a piece of property that had flooding, this will help mitigate flooding by creating a park out of it. And for those of you who may not be aware, we also have planned a, We also have planned a bandstand, which will be at the top of the property. Here, I'll just pass this around. You can see this is a revised plan. My husband did the original, and then Collier, who we work with, the engineering firm, they revamped it a bit. We had Trees for Tribs come in for a couple of years ago, so we had to eliminate a few feet off the edge there by the stream. So they revamped that. But all in all, we have about 14 flower beds that we plan on putting in. And then a surface area that's grass, but the paths will be permeable. So whatever waters come through, we'll be able to pass through. And then the bandstand, which will be a separate project, will be at the top of the property because that's where it's highest. We have to juggle it a little bit because of FEMA and DEC pointing out that there's a sewer line or from a drainage. So, but it'll be a concrete structure, so it won't float away if, God forbid, we do have any flooding. But for ONR, this kind of falls under the extreme weather that we've been experiencing now, and 100-year floodplain, it doesn't exist anymore since we lost those 3 homes thanks to Superstorm Sandy and Irene. So, anyway, that's where we are with it. We do have a Facebook page, and if you have any questions, I'll share with you my contact information. Feel free to reach out. But we just want people to know it's taking time. First thing we need to do is get that sidewalk in and get the curbs in, and I know we're working with the DOT on the state end to get that done. Once that's done, we can really start moving along with layout and whatnot. So, anyway, but there you have it. Oh, and you'll see this as well. This is a picture, this is another flyer that we'll have in the door, and we're also gonna post this online. So, and I just want you to know, the other thing is getting high school kids involved. The fact that it's across the street has been a big impetus to get these kids out and about. The last couple of years, more so than this year, but nonetheless, it's right there and they see it. And they like getting involved with things that have to do with the environment, so that's all good. Any questions? No? Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it, thank you very much.
Welcome.
Excellent. And if anyone is interested, again, just touching base on the May 16th cleanup. It will be roadside cleanup, things along those lines, as well as we have approximately 40 some odd flower pots that will need to be planted. So we're working with the nurseries right now to put together kind of our arrangement of what we're interested in. And so that'll be, shortcoming and be prepared for our Memorial Day parade that we do annually as also. So, thank you. Okay, we'll move forward to our public hearings. We'll first go with the, to reopen the public hearing, local law number 4, continuation of that hearing regarding the sewer fund deficit finance fee. This money will be used to cover the deficit payment that we had taken out to basically borrow against the budget for the sewer fund that was depleted of $1.16 million back in, I'll say, the early 21-22 area. So, and this was an accumulation of audits that were completed by New York State and by other accounting firms that we had brought in. So we had opened it at our last meeting, and we wanted to continue it to this evening. And with that, could I have a motion to open the public hearing?
Motion?
Can I have a second, please?
Second.
It's a motion to reopen, correct?
Motion to reopen, correct. Susan? Yeah. Yeah. That's, I want to do.
Okay, I just.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to open,
Reopen.
to reopen the public hearing. If anyone in the audience has any questions on the proposed fee, which we discussed at some length at our last meeting.
Did we vote on the motion?
Yes.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. So if there are no further comments or anything on that, I would make to, any questions on the board? Okay. Could I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion.
I have a second, please. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. Okay. Next public hearing is to approve the new Board of Ethics disclosure form and revisions to the code itself. So can I have a motion to open that public hearing?
Motion to open.
Second. Donna, Steve. Any other, or any comments on that? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Our public hearing is open for any questions on the ethics disclosure form and or the revisions to the public or to the local law itself.
Just a quick explanation,
Please do.
right, Reader Digest style, just for folks in layman's terms, the biggest changes that were being made in that, in the code itself was the revision of the disclosure form, which we'll discuss in a second. And the other was to give the ethics board the leverage to research and make recommendations on, towards decisions being made if there's a grievance brought before them. In the past, they did not have that privilege. It was a village board decision. It still ultimately will come to the village board, but in there's language letting the village board know that they need to take the recommendation, seriously, coming from the BOA. So that's the biggest change. The second change is when we took over 3 years ago, we formed this board. There wasn't an ethics board prior for probably 15 plus years. And the disclosure form that went out had some concerns. The disclosure form was revised. The way the process worked was every employee, paid employee, elected officials, the judges, the attorneys, everyone needed to complete that disclosure form. Then it was returned and it went to the ethics board for review to discuss any potential conflicts. So it was painstaking. We made a revision to that protocol, and what will happen now moving forward is still every new employee will receive that form. It will be filled out upon employment. Current employees, prior employees, instead of getting the form annually, because they were going out annually, they will get a letter stating that any changes that may have been made, it is your responsibility to update the disclosure form and resubmit it. And that will remain in the employee's file. So the disclosure forms themselves will not be going out on an annual basis. It was taking them, I don't know how many months to go through them. The wording on there, if it wasn't perfect, it would get sent back. It just didn't make sense. I did some research. I did learn that 75 to 80-something% of municipalities did not do that on an annual basis. So as long as they're going out, employees are getting them, they are completing them, they are responsible, and they will be reminded annually if there are any changes to update your form. Any questions?
Thank you very much. And thank you on behalf of the board for your efforts, and again, back to the Board of Ethics members committee that, took a long time, but it finally got to where it really needed to be. And again, thank you very much for all your hard work.
Yeah, I'd like to,
Really has paid off.
You members sitting here, if there's anything you want to add,
Yeah.
I'd like to thank them as well, Tom, because this village went, I don't know how many years without an ethics board, and it was very important to us to get one back in place, and I realize you're giving away your private time to come help us, so it really, a truly felt thank you.
We appreciate that, and we appreciate the support of the board as we navigate this process.
It was a long few years, but I think we finally got to where we need to be with this, right?
Yes.
And if there's no other comments, could I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion to close.
And I have a second, please? Vernon on the second. Any questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Motion passes 5-0. Congratulations. Excellent. Okay. So we'll, let's see, jump into the public comment on agenda items, if anybody has anything. Paul?
Paul Lang, Washingtonville, a couple on number 4, on well levels, 21 foot.
Correct, it's been updated, okay.
It was updated
Yeah.
to what?
I checked this morning with our water department, they are at today 21 feet as well.
But they were 17 feet a month ago, and if no one's buying water, where's it going?
Well, it hasn't rained.
I know, but, well, it has rained, but that's a lot of,
It went from
that's a big
south.
difference.
Well, we had a lot of snow melt, we
I'm
had a
just
lot of
curious.
rain during that period, so the wells came up quite a bit to 17, and they dropped to 21.
Yeah,
If
that's
you
quite,
look at the, look at the Mudna, that's a good gauge on where your wells are. You can see rocks, you go down by Weir's Ice Cream, you can see
yeah.
the sand barge down there, so.
I just think it's a big difference in 1 month, I was just curious.
Yeah,
The other one, number 6, green light, notify safety and flaggers.
Yep.
Well, I was on Somerset today and they were out there, I didn't see any flaggers, I didn't see any signs. All I saw was orange pipe laying across Somerset, trucks on both sides. And the other thing with green light, they've also, I've seen them when they were doing Decker, they're popping a lot of holes in Decker, which is probably our best paved street so far. And they're popping these holes, they're going from one side, coming up, I guess they hit a rock or something, they're coming up, but they still have to go back down. So when they're making these little holes, basically what are they creating? Potholes. They're filling them in,
yeah,
some of them have already sunk,
right.
and there's quite a few of them. It
Yeah.
just, I don't wanna say it's laziness, because, maybe they could go a different route, but the easy way is to pop that hole in and pull that cable up, and then go back in. And
Got
then,
it.
I saw at least 3 holes that they were doing.
So right, and I saw them as well. What the asphalt that you see in there right now is temporary, it's cold patch, because the plants are just starting to open up here. So when it's all said and done, before they get any money back, that all those holes will be ripped out and made sure that there's enough, sub-base stone, and then the regular pavement will be applied with a tar lip around it, so there's a good seal. But that's what they'll be doing.
Do we have does anyone on the board have a recollection of when that, I was looking for it, I couldn't find it, when the resolution was passed to bring green light in?
Well, we didn't make a resolution to bring green light in by, by their right as a company. They can come in as a fiber company and make the request as making the request, but we don't have the ability to deny their access to the right-of-way to put in fiber.
I
We
thought-
just got another letter.
Well, we're looking back at Frontier, when Frontier wanted to come in, there had to be a resolution, and there didn't have to be a
Well, I'm
resolution.
not saying we might have not done a resolution, but we are well aware that they were coming in. They filled out the building type permit information for road openings and things that they were doing. And we've been following them around, making sure that when they're done, that they clean up after themselves, that the grass is put back to where it needs to be. And it's a long haul, so by the time they get done, if there are things that aren't to our satisfaction or residents' satisfaction, I've spoken to a few, they'll be back, they'll regrade, they'll topsoil, they'll reseed.
Is there a contract stating that?
We have it in the building.
So any internet company can come in and say, we want to go and provide service to your area, and you can't say no.
It's almost like I believe it in, maybe the attorney can jump in here, but it's almost like the cell towers. Remember where cell towers were going in and there was lousy coverage? And then there was something that it was their obligation to put up cell towers to improve all of the connectivity points. And then all these other companies started jumping on the same towers, and it's just not only an AT&T tower, it's a Verizon tower, it's a Sprint tower, and everybody's riding on the same backbones. So we just got a letter, you mentioned Frontier. I just got a letter from Frontier asking to do the same thing, even though now Frontier is owned by Verizon. They want to go and they want to put in fiber as well. We're waiting for them to call to figure out what roads and what areas that they want to do.
So they want to come in, they'll be digging up the same holes that these guys dug up.
Potentially, I don't know. We haven't, they haven't told us the list of roads that they want to do. So I don't know if it's going to be village-wide, but this Green Light has done Goshen, they're in Middletown, they're in Walden, I believe they're in Montgomery. They're covering the entire county, and they'll be offering internet service in competition with Spectrum And if that's, you know, if it's just internet, I don't know if it's gonna include TV down the road, but, you know, it is what it is at this point. They have a website, you can go, you can shop, you can call them and get some pricing, but I've heard numbers of about $55 for 8 megs. So, you know, call and ask.
Mailers
Is
went
the
out,
best
you
thing.
probably, half
Yeah,
you
they
probably
were
got
also
them in
doing mailers too.
All right, on item 13, the hydrant flushing. When we do hydrant flushing, are we checking just for flow? Or are we checking for pressure? Or what are we checking for both?
You're checking to, number one, flushing to clean,
Yeah,
and then secondarily, if there's anything tight, they lubricate the connections, the caps, and anything on top. They'll do that as well. And then depending on the hydrant, if the pressure looks low, then we do spots checks on the pressure, what's coming out of the hydrant.
I just remember back in the day, they used to crank it open just to make sure that there was pressure.
Oh, yeah.
I watched them doing a hydrant that was broke when Betty's burned down at Fireman's Park, Veterans Memorial rather. And they just basically opened it up, let it run a bit. That's not saying that if I open it up all the way, it's gonna work. Maybe that valve is stuck. We used to open them up, they used to open them up all the way.
Yeah.
And just to check the pressure.
Right, and they, to my knowledge, they open them up all the way, and then they
No,
have a
it-
device on the
Not today,
side.
not this one. And that was a hydrant that was broke when Betty's burned down.
How do you know it wasn't opened all the way?
Because I sat there and watched them from the bagel place.
And that was how many, just recently?
Today, this morning.
Today? Okay. I'll check with Justin, he's leading that project,
Alright.
and we'll see.
And the last thing is number 16, that the interest money update. I got an email today from Leslie.
Mhm.
It doesn't really tell me where the interest money is gone. It tells me that it's there. And it was something else that was confusing. I don't know, maybe we could wait till you talk about it. It was a $309,000 grant. And I was just curious why a $309,000 grant wouldn't pay down the band rather than increasing.
If you wanna put an email together with your questions, and then
I'm
we'll
gonna send it
answer
back
each
to,
one.
yeah, it was $309,000 grant, so you would think that's good. It's a grant, we're getting money,
Yeah, what's good?
but it increased the band. Why would it increase the band if we're getting $309,000 in grant money on top of the $200,000 interest?
All right, so put your questions together, and we'll
All right.
give you a response. Okay? Anybody else? Okay. So we'll jump into the announcements regarding High Grove Well, that we've been working with P&D Engineering. We just sent in the withdrawal application, so we haven't heard back from DEC at this point. It usually takes a few months, but that information has been sent to DEC. New York State DASNY grant, we had, over the last several months, we've talked about this. This is what they call an RRFB crosswalk that has LED lighting on it. It also has a button that if you're crossing the street, it flashes the amber light, so it wakes up the cars that are driving down the road, so it gives you the ability to cross the street. That grant has been approved, as we mentioned before. Now we've captured 3 to 4 companies. We have the lowest, most responsible bidder, and we'll be putting together that paperwork to put in our first order. And the pricing is that good that we'll be able to, probably, our plan was to go with 5, and their pricing is very good. So we'll have enough money to buy 15. And then we'll put them around the village. I met with the chief to start to explore what intersections that we're concerned about. And obviously, we're thinking of Ahern, of course, with the parks. We have Ahern and North Street where people are trying to cross Ahern at that location. We have Cartwheel Court on Brotherhood. We have 94, and which is on really the North Street side of things. Where else, Chief? Oh, on, Weather Vane, the street in between the two senior centers. We'll put something over there. So if anybody wants to cross the street, they'll be able to, you know, hit the button, these yellow lights flash. It's got a large crossing sign, warning sign for drivers as they normally say on the roads. The really nice thing about these as well is that they also display the speed that the car is traveling. So most roads in the village are 25 miles an hour, with the exception of probably North Street and the state highways, which is not regulated by us, but those, North Street, for example, could be 30 miles an hour, but all the residential roads are 25. So you'll know what kind of speed limit you're doing at some point. There's also data that's collected by all of these devices, and we can get onto a computer and look at a dashboard and look at each one to collect data and maybe potentially help the police department if we notice that their people are going 15, 20 miles over the speed limit, then we can send police out and do surveillance and do radar, etc. So it's going to be a really good tool at the end of the day. So we'll be prepared to at least go out initially and get 5 of them. We also had put in a couple of work orders talking to DOT, because I'm interested in putting one at the intersection of North Street and 94, where you would cross at Stewart's to the old banks. That is super hazardous, and a lot of people use that location. The second location that we're trying to get DOT to evaluate would be our municipal parking lot, which is 29 West Main Street, which is across the street from the Bagel and Pharmacy. Have a crosswalk put there because people are parking their cars and walking across the street. So it seems like it would be a good fit somewhere in that neighborhood. We've also talked to the school briefly about potentiality of them doing the same program, buying it, and then having something between maybe the high school and or middle school when kids are crossing at that location. And that could tie into what Gene was mentioning earlier, that we're proposing and working with DOT through a work permit now to install a sidewalk between Sewell Park and the municipal lot on the south side, where right now is just a shoulder which is dangerous for anybody to walk on. And we want it safe when that park is open so people could, with carriages, bicycles, or whatever, walking, at least it'll be safe. So it's going to be a really nice project. All the work will be done internally by us, our DPW crew. Just a note, Memorial Day is coming up, so that'll be May 25th. The parade normally starts at 10. Maureen DeVinco, my better half, is in charge of it, so if anybody wants to get involved or knows an organization that wants to be involved, marching, etc., our cell number is 845-742-4621, and she'll send you the paperwork, etc., to get you signed up to be involved in the parade. The route will be exactly the same it's been for the last couple of years, leaving from the high school and ending up at our Fireman's Park with some light refreshments afterwards.
No rain day, right?
No, generally we don't have a rain day.
Last year, if I remember correctly, it got rained out. The first one ever canceled.
Nah, it was
2 years
2 years ago.
Was it?
Yeah, it was 2. Yeah. Okay. Water levels, we discussed that. The brush pickup was something that we discussed at the last meeting as well. And knowing that it's spring and there's a lot of things going on with cleanup in yards and the weather, et cetera, that we're doing additional pickups during the week. Or we'll pick up for a week, we'll watch what develops, gets put on the curb, we'll come back out and pick it up. Green light, as Paul had mentioned, with the flaggers on Somerset, call them the next day, making sure that they have it. I know I've been out there a couple of times. They are bringing their trucks across the road, so no one can potentially drive down there, because when they are pulling the orange conduit cables and they're putting it in the ground, they've got to pull it so it's straight and it's across the street, so they're blocking basically the traffic on either
I
side.
said there were no flaggers there today.
No,
None.
and this, where I was, there wasn't any flaggers either, but they used their vehicles to block and close the road. So we'll talk to them again, you know, if it's a safety issue and God forbid someone gets hurt, it's gonna be on them, because there are regs and rules for flaggers. So we'll continue to keep them informed.
They're using, walk the village, there are actual little flags throughout in some areas, and then there are spray painted markers.
Mhm,
So, because I've been asked,
mhm.
there are 2 different color spray painted markers.
There's more than that.
Okay, well, over in Woodfield, I
Yeah,
know, because
yeah.
one of the residents there asked me about it, and
Yeah.
then, so that's a them, the flag, that's all
That's
of
all
it is them?
Yep. So the painting is usually gonna be, at least if it's blue or green, it's us. The village is more doing those markings, which is water and sewer. Then there's a company, USIC,
The orange,
who come out and they do all the other utilities. So if it's gas, orange, if it's, electric, if it's fiber, whatever it is, they identify all the other stuff. And then they use the flags, because if it's paint, they have 2 weeks to get the project in, or otherwise they need to get the 811 dig, the USIC guys back, because they're, that permit, or whatever you wanna call it, the markings are only good for 2 weeks.
I was just gonna ask you that, how long it's good, because a lot of people
2
looking
weeks.
to cut their grass on Decker
Right,
and can't cut it, because you got
Yeah.
these little flags there.
yeah, they gotta,
They have 2
either go
weeks
around. The
from when
reason they
they
don't paint them is if people cut the grass, or it rains, and eventually within 2 weeks' time, that paint can basically dissolve. 'Cause
So they
it's
have
not
2
meant
weeks to
be
start the
permanent.
work, after they flag it.
Correct. Once it's marked, they have 2 weeks supposedly to get out there and get it done.
so safe to say, all the flags and the spray painted markers throughout the village are all green light right now.
Correct,
Okay.
correct. And they are giving us a heads up, so we're trying to identify that so we can do a code red specifically to those areas, so that they're aware that you see a guy walking with a yellow vest and all their stuff should be saying green light, where ours says Washingtonville and we have our IDs,
Right,
so there's no confusion on the people. So,
okay.
but yep, that's what they're doing. Okay, anything else on it, guys?
No?
Yeah,
Bill?
Bill?
Bill Greer, Washington Boulevard. So where those flags are, I have a number in my front yard.
Yep.
Where those little red flags are they going to be digging, or is there a conduit already under the ground for the prior cable, like for Spectrum's cable, that they're gonna use that conduit to force their cable through?
There'll be another cable put in the ground.
Or will they be digging where all those,
Yeah, where you see, they'll be digging between the curb and sidewalk. They'll have a machine and it bores a hole, and it brings the pipe and the conduit in, and then once it's in place, the fiber then enters the conduit.
where the
And then-
flags are not between the sidewalk and
I'm sorry?
where the flags are not between the curb and the sidewalk, where they're
Well,
inside?
it's probably just identifying where there might be markings of some utility.
Okay,
but
because
they
there's red
normally-
flags. The
yeah.
red flag- I have a box on the side of the property, one of the
Right.
boxes. So from that box, it comes out and then goes across the street and then down to another box on
Right.
the other side.
Yeah,
So should I expect that they're gonna dig in there, or that they're going to somehow tunnel underneath?
they're gonna be tunneling underneath. They're not coming in with any kind of backhoe, they're not creating any super disturbance. It kinda raises the soil. If something gets disturbed, they rake it out, and then they will be by with topsoil and seed and hay to make sure it's put back to normal.
Thank you.
You're welcome, thanks. Okay, number 8, we have the village-wide garage sale coming up.
7.
I'm sorry, 7. I missed 7.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm
Rental
sorry.
properties.
Thank you. So rental properties for 2023, local law number 6. So this law has been on the books, and the board's interest in it now is to basically rescind that local law. And the problem is the law was all about short-term rentals and keeping track of the short-term rentals and who has a short-term rental and all the other things that go with it. It seems to work in some communities. We don't believe, and from some experiences already, that it really doesn't tend itself to be very cohesive in our areas, because our homes are developments and neighbors are pretty close to one another. If they were on 3-acre lots, it might be a different story. So our discussion and at this point was that we wanted to rescind it to make it illegal to have short-term rentals in the village of Washingtonville. because of, you know, some of the rentals were out of control with very large parties. And it just became a very big nuisance to the neighbors, and and some of them went over their period of time, or maybe a weekend or two, and they wanna rent the house out for 2 months, and they only use it on weekends, so it really became a real problem.
Property maintenance was an issue too.
Yeah, property maintenance as well, lawns and garbage, et cetera.
The
And
garage with a hole in it.
And, you know, neighbors, and it made it very difficult for our police too, you know, it's not an easy thing to be dealing with, and you get into the noise complaints, and then how do you measure the noise? And so, it was just cleaner just to pull it back and be done. So, thank you for number 7. Okay, so all that paperwork will be forthcoming. We're gonna schedule a public hearing for May, and by then we'll have the local law and everything else created, which we'll put on our website for everyone's pleasure to read. And then number 8, we have the community garage wide sale, May 2nd and 3rd, between 9 and 4 p.m. on both days. So if you're interested, I'm getting on a Google list. There's a nominal fee of $10 to reach out to the event committee. They've got a list of everybody, otherwise you can just post your little sign at the end of the road or on your property, and you know, have your garage sale. They've been very successful over the years, and everything seems to go very smoothly, so looking forward to that. It's a good way to clean out your house.
If you're registered, you get on the map
You know,
with your address, so it brings more attention to your location.
Yeah.
You can just
people
sign
actually come
it.
in from all over the county
Yes.
just to do garage sale days. They
Yeah.
like
And
to
it's
drive
rain
to
and
the whole
shine,
village.
rain or shine,
Yeah,
and it's for both days, you're not picking one or the other, it's $10
get up
for
there
both
Saturday, that
days.
seems to be the prime day,
Yeah.
based on,
Right, you can just
experience.
do one of the two, you don't have
Yeah.
to do both, but
No
you
early
pay for
birds.
both.
yeah. All right, number 10 would be the meter readings. Susan, you wanna cover that?
Well, they are out there reading the meters, they're just about done. Bills will be going out at the end of the month, so all that is in process. Do you want me to go into the rest of the Badger stuff?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so as far as right now, we have 482 meters online. We have 13 that are pre-provisioned, which means they've already been installed, they just haven't been put online yet. Out of the ones that have been installed, our water usage for the past 7 days have been almost 1 million gallons in those meters. As far as expenses and income go, Paul, you asked this question last time, the amount of money spent on the Badger meters has been, for the meters itself, $254, $491.35, and for the Edmunds software, including the creation of it, the implication, and the ongoing maintenance, it's $65,030.398.32. On the income side of water, sewer, water to date from our fiscal year starting March 1st, $90,109.00. The sewer fund has received $82,094.35, and the facility use fee has received $55,293.23. Right now, we are concentrating on replacing the bad meters. We have meters in this village that have not read correctly, probably for close to 10 years. So we are trying to chase down those homeowners and get in there and get those updated.
Sounds good. Thank you very much. Anything else? You got it?
And I think it's,
Okay. All right, next would be the number 11, historic preservation. I'll turn that over to Donna for her brief update.
Okay, so some of you may know, we don't have an actual historical downtown district, just because of laws. We are actually starting to possibly create that, but it's a long time in the making. In the meantime, what we are doing is we are taking some of these structures that have a lot of history to them and trying to get those designated on a local level. So we don't need permission from the homeowner. We just get to do that. The first one that we did was 1 Depot Street. The second one, which we are about to do now, is the First Presbyterian Church. So that structure, I'm sure you're familiar with it, the white church, it's on 30 Goshen Avenue. That was actually my church. I taught Sunday school there. The congregation was tremendous back in the 90s, and prior to that, I understand it, it's significantly dwindled since, so sadly they are looking to sell it. But we do want to get that designated because there is some history. The architecture there resembles the Greek Revival style, for one. That structure was erected in 1847, and it was like the church to be at the time here in Washingtonville. Also, to me, very close to, I've researched and did a lot of work with this, the first, we believe the first, if not the first, one of the first pastors at that church was Reverend Henry Belden, and he had ties to the Underground Railroad, and he actually freed some slaves from the South. Him and his son actually transported them up north. Now, that reverend lived at 36 North Street. 36 North Street, you may know, has been under construction for a couple of years now. That is on our list to designate as well. The cemetery still sits there. There were, I've gotten on that property, and when it was under construction and the sheetrock was torn, it was stripped down. I mean, I should bring pictures when we do that one. But you saw etchings from some folks back in probably 1800s with initials and messages. It was like being in a time warp. It was very incredible. But so for now, we're doing First Presbyterian. We'll make a resolution tonight to set a public hearing, because with each designation, you need to set a public hearing. So what does that all mean? It means that structure can never be demoed. It can make renovations. The Historical Review Board is still in the works in terms of what type of renovations can be made inside and out. But we will obviously try to preserve as much as possible, you know, with giving them the opportunity to also, you know, some of them might be homes that they're turning into, like Betty's, right? So you can't say they can't change some of the architecture, but keep as much of it as you can, but they will never be demoed. The second piece is you get a historical marker placed on the structure, which is kind of cool.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Cool. All right. Let's see, number 12 is the irrigation meter policy. So we put a policy procedure together because we recently had passed the irrigation portion of our water law that would allow a second meter on a house for outside watering. So it would not, you would pay for the water, but you would not pay for the sewer piece. So we put together a policy. We have a permit being drawn up. I should have something near a good draft for tomorrow, and then we'll send that out to the board for review, and then just put it in place. So if anybody wants to take that action and put a second meter in the house, and they can do that very easily. We'll have the procedure down, and the homeowner will know exactly what to do, how he gets a plumber, and to do the work, etc. So should be easy as far as that's concerned. So then we'll be doing that this evening. We talked about the hydrants. One of the roads that we discussed last year as far as milling and paving is Tower Hill Drive. We did send some letters out to the homeowners to advise them as such. We started doing all the drainage work and catch basin repairs last year, and we have a couple more things to follow up this year. We have a couple of valves that need to be exercised and potentially replaced, but that road will be done this year.
Well, we know for sure 2 are broken,
Okay.
and there's been a drainage issue with water coming down the hill, ponding and icing over the winter on Goshen Avenue, where it comes around. Today, we identified that we did not know was there. There is a storm drain. People have been throwing crap on it. It was buried, so they're gonna correct that with some steering of the water that just helps stop it slow coming down the hill.
Thank you. Anything else? You got it? Okay. All right, so that'll be scheduled shortly once we get some of these repairs completed. Next was 15 Village Green Area Parks and Protection. So what we've been working on are all the major green areas in our parks to get them to a point where they will be protected against them being turned into something else at the end of the day. So we're working through that process right now with the attorney, and once everything is set, there'll be potential law resolutions to protect all our 3 parks and our large green areas that are basically 5 acres or more, and specifically the ones that have the ponds. So we're working on that again to protect the parks so they'll be forever green.
Just so the audience knows, in New York State, if you want to change the usage of parkland, something that is deeded parkland, you actually need New York State Assembly permission to do so. And that's the purpose behind that. We do have one green spot that is 22 acres.
Yep. Thank you. All right, we talked about the New York class briefly. We'll have an email from Paul on that. 17 is a program that we received some information, and it'll be on the website. They're calling it EEAP, and it's basically giving residents some help depending on your financial situation, how many people live in the home. There's a breakdown of potentially how much money you could receive to offset your utility bills. So, again, it's on our website, and I believe we have a copy on our tables out there that anybody wants to see. We can review that. Let's see.
Heat with an E,
I'm sorry?
like heat with an E.
With a heat, yeah, it's like one of those programs. It is from New York State, and it's being implemented by Orange and Rockland. So the next is a hot box that we've been investigating over the last several years, that the village is really needs to take care of our potholes and larger kind of projects for patching. So we have that on the agenda for this evening. Architecture Review Board application is also on the agenda to discuss State Farm's new sign. Number 20, the range data is the SCADA module, which is an alarm system for our sewer plant. Currently, when the sewer plant was updated, there's a SCADA system, what they call it, basically monitors the entire sewer plant. Everything that's operational, all the pits, all the water flows, is monitored by this program. When the upgrade of the plant was being done, that portion of the project was removed. So since 2020-ish, that plant has been running basically blind. And the only way you know what's going on is being there and watching. And potentially, if you have a problem, it's reaction, not being proactive. So with a lot of work from a lot of people, Steve and H2O, Justin, we found this company that has these modules at a very reduced price. This system is if you went, I don't know, I mean, pricing really all over the place, but we were seeing prices above $500,000. And we find these devices that are wireless, that connect to your cell, signal, your Wi-Fi, and it's the price is under $50,000. So we'll be able to have a dashboard monitoring, and you'll be able to get text message or get your phone call from the system to advise you that something is going on with a motor in section A of the plant. So again, we'll be more proactive to get to these things, you know, before or as they're happening, not after the fact. And that's a really good thing coming down. Something that I did many moons ago is I had Saturday hours. So what I'm going to start doing is thank you. Starting on May 2nd, I'll be having Saturday hours for anyone who wants to show up to discuss whatever they want. No agenda, please come. If you're interested in discussing something with a trustee, let me know, I'll see if they're available. But otherwise, I'll be there every Saturday between 9 and 11, and would look forward to anybody who wants to sit down, have a cup of coffee, and kind of chew the fat, figure out whatever it is. And 22 is a dupe, so I'm just going to remove that. Okay. I'm sorry? It's on the resolutions. Oh, do I have it? Yeah, let me get that for you. It might be on his desk. All right, so we'll move into the resolutions. Resolution 260054 is resolution to approve part-time officers agreement with each of the officers in lieu of a contract that would be out there for a group of police officers. Steve done a lot of work on that, and I don't know, Steve, if there's anything you want to add, touch on?
We've been working on it for a couple of years now, believe it or not. Their actual contract with the union expired in '23. And we had something in place about a year and a half, 2 years ago. And I won't mention names, but one of the police officers went and sent a letter firing the union. In that case, we had to wait until PERB did everything and disassociated themselves. So it took almost a year just for that. We were just in limbo waiting. But we finally got it done, and most of them signed today already, and we have a couple more that we're going to do it on Thursday, I believe it is.
Okay, that was great work, and I know it took a long time, so it's finally done. Excellent. Okay, next resolution, oh, we need to have the motion. In the motion, we have a second. Any other questions? I'm sorry. All right, motion was Steve.
Motion.
Second. Have a second. Is Ryan. Any other questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. Resolution 260055 to approve the irrigation policy procedure as is written on April 20th, 2026. Have a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Susan, second. Steve. Questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Resolution 260056 to authorize the budget transfers and mandates as necessary to effect the necessary transfers of funds to pay the village warrants. Have a motion?
Motion.
Vernon, second. Steve. Questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Resolution 260057 to enact local law number 4, revived sewage facility rent $25 per quarter, $100 per year to increase, shall expire in 5 years, 2031. Have a motion?
Motion.
Steve. Second is Vernon. Questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Resolution 260058 to adopt the SCADA system purchase and installation for $41,500. Have a motion?
Motion.
Steve, second.
Second.
Vernon, questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. Resolution 250059 to approve the new Board of Ethics disclosure form. Have a
Motion.
John?
Rather, I would rather say that it's to approve the local law, to adopt the local law.
Okay, well, the other
They're
is,
separate, no?
Oh, they're separate?
No,
Or shouldn't they be separate?
no.
No.
no, because the form.
To approve the new Board of Ethics disclosure form and the revisions made to the local law?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so we have Donna still on the motion,
Yes.
and then Steve is still on the second. With that modification. Any other questions, comments? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. Resolution 260060 to schedule a public hearing on May 18, 2026 at 7 p.m. for local law number 5 for the proposed designation of property identification as section, block, and lot 112-4-7.2 located at 30 Goshen Avenue as a local landmark. Have a motion?
Motion.
Second, Vernon. Any questions, comments? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. Resolution 260061 to approve the public assembly permit for the Washingtonville Event Committee, July 3rd, 2026, between 12 p.m. and 11 p.m. 4th of July celebration. Have a motion?
Motion.
Steve, second. Vernon. Questions, comments? All in favor? And motion passes 5-0. Resolution 260062 to approve 2026 Orange County Volunteer Fire Association Parade Public Assembly Permit for the Washingtonville Fire District Monell Engine Company for the parade on September 26, 2026, between 12 p.m. and 6 p.m. Have a motion?
Motion.
Steve, second.
Second.
Vernon. Any questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. Resolution 260063 to schedule a public hearing on May 18th at 7 p.m. for local law number 6, for short-term rental properties, 2023 local law number 5, schedule rescind local law. Have a motion?
Motion.
Donna, second Steve. Questions, comments? All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. All right, we all love this one. Resolution 0064
bell.
to approve the facility use request form for Mr.
Ding-a-ling.
Ding-a-ling Ice Cream.
Who was it again?
Mr. Ding-a-ling. Come in. It sounds like it's a bell too. May through October of 2026. Background checks have been completed and everything is in there. Have a motion, please. And made the motion. Have a second, please.
Second.
Susan. Any other questions? Okay, with that, all in favor?
Aye.
At least there was some.
Yeah, they did, don't sing it. Yeah, loud voice. We took care of resolution 0065, so we'll move on to resolution 260066 for the Architectural Review Board to approve the application for State Farm Insurance new sign at Fulton Square. Have a motion?
Motion.
Motion.
Donna, second would be Susan. Any questions on the sign?
Everyone
Everybody's good? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0. And resolution 260067 to approve the Timmerman Equipment Stock Step Manufacturer SPHD oil jacketed heat dumping hot box for pothole repairs, patching, etc.
That's
like Peter
I'll say that 3 times. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Vernon on the motion. I have a second, Susan. Any questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
And motion passes 5-0. Thank you much. All right, next would be comment on non-agenda items. Anything in the sky? Paul?
Paul Lang, I just want to get clarification, Susan. You gave us a number of a little over $250,000 for the meeting, that's 254, 491.
That's what we have spent in
How-
Schmitz.
How many, just the meeting?
And everything that requires to install them.
Like,
gaskets, the
Oh, okay.
encoders.
how many meters is that?
We have, well, sorry, Paul. We have,
482 installed, but how many meters?
plus 13,
Okay,
and then we still have 79 that have not been installed yet. So we add that up together, and that's what we bought.
and that was all money, those monies were all budgeted,
Correct,
along with the admins, the 65,000 on the admins.
correct. That Edmunds figure is since 2023, 2024, when we started to install it.
Thank you.
Bill?
I have one comment and one question. Social media is rife with complaints about the streets, about potholes and, you know, damage to vehicles and everything. And I know 208 is stayed and 94 is stayed. But if the board could put out some kind of a comment about North Street, about when that paving will occur, because we all know it's going to occur. It's just a matter of when, and maybe it would tamp down some of the
We were just talking
ridiculousness.
there's
that I
some
see.
work that needs to be done first.
Every time that I don't chase Facebook, so when I do see it, or my kids tell me, hey, you know, Dad, you got this guy saying something. So I go online and I look, and then I just reply back to say, we understand that North Street is the, you know, what condition it's in. We did all the sidewalk repairs and all that stuff last year. We did plan to pave last year, except when we continued to do our testing of water valves and some other things, they were not functioning. And then it became too cold for us to do anything with them at that particular point in time. So within the next 2 weeks, and I wish I had an exact date, but we're dealing with contractors, they're gonna come out and we're gonna close the intersection of Ahern and North Street, and we're going to, there's 4 valves that are in the road, and to confirm what potentially the documentation is telling us or not telling us, and it's been more of a question than anything, we have to basically vacuum, come in with a vac truck, and basically excavate down to these water mains to see what's going on and see why these valves are not closing. Because our problem is we go down to 94, we close valves, we go up to the next intersection, and there's also valves along the way. We shut all those valves, but we open up the hydrants, and we have full pressure. So there's something going on that is not documented, and we're trying to find out, because the last thing I wanna do is spend, you know, over $200,000 on paving and milling and have a problem. So we're unfortunately trying to do it the right way. Unfortunately, it takes time, but we're gonna dig it up, figure out what we have, fix what's there. Once that's been resolved, then we'll be paving from 94 all the way up to the line of Decker.
Okay, just saying,
Yeah,
like,
no, I appreciate that.
Or maybe if
We-
you comment to meetings, you can.
Yeah, we've been saying it really at every meeting, the same message.
Yeah.
And we'll put something out on Facebook as well.
And
Just
Bill,
trying
do you
to-
have my phone number? If you see something, shoot me a text, you know, I'll
Oh,
acknowledge it.
it's social media, so. it's-
I know, but
some of it's
sometimes-
not worth addressing.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, Bill, thank you.
So my other question is, this is more, just for my own curiosity, I guess. The financial deficit bonds that we now have liability for, are I assume they're contractually principal and interest payments, and we have contracted and said, these are the dates when we'll make principal and interest payments to the holders of the bonds.
Correct.
Is there any penalty if we pay them early? Because if I was buying a bond,
Yeah,
I would not want to buy a bond that could just pay off any time without getting a premium interest on it.
right.
So are we contractually obligated not to pay them off on an accelerated schedule?
We've been told we cannot pay them off early.
Because as you know, it comes up in the budget discussions
Right.
every year.
Yep.
And-
Yeah, we think about it, we ask that question, just like every other loan you might take out personally, and you say, hey, if I pay it off, are there penalties?
It's
And
not
their
a
answer
simple-
is you can't.
So we're locked in for
You
the
can't,
5
we're
years.
locked into it for the 5 years.
Yeah.
It's not a simple interest.
Yeah,
Okay.
they wanna make sure that they make their money at the end of the day.
As anybody would that buy.
That's why they do what they do.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else?
Going once.
Going once. Board, anybody have anything? Okay, if not, then we'd like to thank everybody for coming. I need a motion to adjourn into executive session to discuss personnel issues.
Motion to adjourn to an
Have a
executive.
motion, have a second?
Second.
Have a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Thanks, everybody.